Hello, everyone. It all comes down to rocks today at 10:10. What Musk and Tesla are going to show off could really amaze people. I believe this will put more and more pressure on Uber and the industry as a whole to speed up the future. I see where cars will drive themselves. Tesla isn't getting enough press, even though it's the best AI play on the market. When I think of Tesla, I always think of a tech company that changes things. I never think of them as an auto business. You could say that they were the first to offer full self-driving and FSD, but I think what will really set them apart in the future is their software, especially for FSD and automated. So it's not auto. This is more or less an AI play. The method based on the sum of the parts starts to work. That's why I believe this is a very important turning point in Tesla's life. Things were very bad at this time. We saw less demand for EVs in China and around the world. Rose missed supplies in one quarter, but our whole call was about how an adult in the room needs to step up and turn things around. When prices go down, Mogo comes back, and that's what we saw yesterday. It was clear that the two key packages were better than Whisper, The Street, and Paul. Again, I think this has been a rough time. I could see that Cinderella story beginning again in 2025, just like we talked about when Apple went to WWDC with Cook and the AI strategy. This will be a historic moment for the Tesla store, as they'll be introducing their self-driving and robo-taxi fleet, which will lead to, over the next few years, I think 1 out of every 5 or 6 ride shares will be self-driving because it's coming to China. Personally, I've seen SSD and self-driving cars work in Kansas City. But here's the thing, by the end of the decade, 5 to 10% of what I'll call shared rides will not have a driver. Look at where that number is now. That's why we're where we are now. Investors are starting to see the AI store. There aren't many AI plays that are as good as Tesla. We think that AI alone could be worth $1 trillion to the name. The name is also becoming more stable in terms of price and demand. We've talked about it and said it in public. I have no doubts about this because it's all about Tesla putting more weight on the AI story, which is what investors want to see. The bears are going to play today because I never saw Tesla as a car company. I saw it as a name for a disruptive technology. That's why the stock is going down, miss. But I think that in a few weeks or months, investors will start to pay more attention to 1010 in terms of the AI story FSD. We still think this is just a waiting period before we reach what I call the gold at the end of the rainbow. This is going to be a big day, no matter what day it is, October 88 or 10, because I think Tesla is more than just a car company. The most important thing is that their October event goes well because it paves the way for self-driving cars, robo-taxi services, and making money with AI. There is a story about AI that we think is worth $1 trillion for Tesla. We also believe that the AI revolution has only started in the last 18 months. That being said, what about Tesla and you would make us bad? A quarter or two ago, we talked about how you need to step up your services, which I think he did. For the second quarter, deliveries were important, and I think that's why you saw a lot of bears go back into their cuss. But you need to keep demand stable, so don't make any more big price cuts. Also, you need to finish the next part of the store, which is robot cars, by October. Yes, I believe there are worries about this fleet and what it might mean for Uber in the long run. That bad thing for Tesla is now seen as a good thing. Uber and Lyft, I think that some of the bad things that people say about Uber are exaggerated when it comes to what this will mean for a robo-taxi fleet. Finally, I believe that they will work together with Tesla on that when it comes to ride-sharing. But in 3 to 5 years, I think that a good portion of ride-sharing will not have a driver watching out for it, maybe 10 to 20%. More than anything else, it's about the AI. We've talked about how I think more and more of what we call robotics will be run by AI in 3 to 5 years. All of this seems to fit into the AI revolution. We're living through the fourth industrial revolution. Investors still think of Tesla as a car company, but Musk is taking the company much further than that. Since the late 1990s, I've been writing about tech stocks. I think what we're known for is trying to spot trends before they happen. Part of our success comes from the fact that we cover software as well as businesses like Apple and Tesla. It seems to me that AI is the most important tech trend in the last 30 years, and I believe we are now in a new tech B market. The AI revolution won't happen all at once. About 6 months ago, we thought that number was 500 billion. If you look at the real market, it's not just hyperscalers, but also other enterprises in the long run. It's just starting, so all of our checks are showing demand's actually continuing to accelerate. As far about yields are improving from production perspective, that they're the only game in town. Use cases are coming through. We saw that with Paler, you see that with ServiceNow, now this fourth industrial revolution. But when you look at the Tesla story, autonomous FSD, I could argue it's one of the best AI plays in the market. When you look out next 2, 3, 4 years, this is just the start of the next chapter. The next book, as Musk calls it, in the Tesla grocer, I think is one of the best disruptive names in the world. Well, look, we've always talked about in the show this is a disruptive technology company. And I think that's where, look, the bears will say it's a car company. They've set it from 100 million up to a trillion. So the point is this is disruptive tech. And now when you look at autonomy software FSD, that's the vision, but also this is one that you're going to see 3-4 million vehicles per year. When you look out 4 or 5 years from now, betting against these disruptive technology companies with massive install base, it's just been, I think it's the wrong move in what we view as a 1995 moment. Musk is Tesla, yes. In a lot of ways, I think Musk is the dirtiest guy in the world because he's Tesla. It's hard for him to decide what to do right now. Musk used to be more of a child, but now he seems more like the grown-up in the room or the driver of the plane. I think this has given him more confidence in votes. But you're right. I think Tesla is the golden child. They need Musk, but Musk needs Tesla, and I think that continues to really be the focus, especially with AI. I believe being under the hood of Tesla as the next stage is getting Musk the 25% voting right. But our whole view on Tesla, this is just, we'll call, the early stages of a much longer-term story that's starting to play out, and I think we've been here before. They've been through challenges. But even like we've seen the last few weeks with the earnings, then Musk going to Beijing and others, there have definitely starting to now be some seeds that I think are going to lead to growth. I think I wouldn't say an insult to call just an auto company, but my view is it's disruptive tech, because when you look at the broader vision in terms of full self-driving autonomous electric vehicle transition, even though demand's obviously moderated globally, I think it continues to be a disruptive technology player. But I think many that call it an auto company, John, the same people that they look at Microsoft and say, it's still a legacy Windows instead of a cloud company. So I continue to view this as the disruptive technology player that's really in the early a transitionary state for growth. But then the big reason the stock's up, it's about that AI robotics, play robo-taxi day. And these are the important things right now that have really been, I'll call, a bit of a renaissance of growth for the comeback kid Musk. I agree that the leveling off has something to do with the desire for EVs. As you saw, GM backed off a bit from its EV plan, which shows that demand has started to level off. Do they talk about that?